You're welcome back. This is Breakfast Daily on Citi TV. Now, the conversation we are going to have is one that is very touching. So here at Citi, we have the Citi FM Foundation. Now, as part of activities of the foundation is to make sure that we support people who need, some form of help. Now, we have the Citi Opportunity Project on Education, COPE. Now, under the COPE, we support people, into tertiary institutions, those who have done extremely well but don't have the means to further their education. One of such beneficiaries is Ali Inusah. Now, this gentleman is the son of a headsman, and he's made all of us proud, not just those of us at Citi FM and Citi TV, but also, Ghanaians in general, and he's been a real good ambassador to needy but brilliant students. We are going to listen to Ali, because he just graduated from the UPSA, and he gave the valedictory speech. Now, this means so much, and it also tells of how he did not, disappoint at all, how he took advantage of the help he got and made sure that he paves the way for other people to also follow. He's made all of us proud, and this is worth acknowledging. So let's go hear our valedictorian, as he graduated from school.
I feel very honored and privileged to stand before you on this historic occasion to deliver the valedictory speech on behalf of my colleague graduates. I am not the spotlight of the day, as every graduate here deserves great acknowledgement and applause for what they have achieved. Today is a special day for us all, but it is particularly unparalleled for me. Looking back, we can only give praise to the Almighty for this milestone. We have come a long way. We can therefore never discount the contributions of our families, guardians and friends to our journeys for their immense support and impact. I would also like to show special appreciation to my mom for her immeasurable love and encouragement. I remember how she kept ringing my phone anytime I left home for school, just to ensure that I'm okay. She would call my phone about 3 times before I would reach the hostel. And she would always tell me, remember to call me when you get to the hostel. I could go on and on, but I will pause here to reflect a bit on my personal journey, which is quite different from most of the graduates here. I started my education in Katamanso Presby Primary. In 2014, I passed my basic education certificate examination and continued to Wesley Grammar School. All this while, life was not rosy. As a son of a headsman, I had to balance schooling and assisting my father with his work. Although I successfully completed senior high school with 7 A's and a B, furthering my education at the university seemed almost impossible. However, a miraculous encounter with Umaru Sanda Amadou and Bernard Avile of Citi FM, Professor Abednego Fenhi Oko Amati, heard them talking about me on air, and he called, and he offered me a scholarship. I became the first beneficiary of the Vice Chancellor's Endowment Fund, which catered fully for my tuition fees. Bernard and Umaru further helped me to get a scholarship from the Citi FM Foundation, which catered for my hostel fees. Today, I am truly humbled indeed to have benefited from these scholarships. I am very thankful for the opportunity and also grateful to all who work tirelessly to ensure that these schemes function properly. But for these scholarships, I probably would never have had the opportunity to be here today, graduating as a student with first-class honors, delivering this valedictory speech. I humbly want to make a passionate appeal to everyone who can hear me today to support these scholarship funds within their best capacities, as there are many students with even greater potential out there who have been starved of the opportunity to shine and whose dreams may never come true as a result. As a Muslim, I always take inspiration from two verses in the Noble Quran. The first is Quran chapter 2, verse 286, which says, Allah does not burden a soul beyond that it can bear. And the second goes, Quran chapter 94, verse 5, as for indeed with hardship comes ease. I'm also a passionate football fan. So let me cite the case of the football club, Newcastle United. Newcastle United is a very big traditional football club that has struggled financially for so many years and has also battled several allegations in recent times. But after a takeover, which was sealed a few days ago, Newcastle United is today the richest club in the English Premier League. For me, this further affirms that, indeed, with hardship comes ease. I am the epitome of the Akan proverb, Ufu diapa, na epiam. To it, when you climb a good tree, you are given a push. While I encourage all and sundry to contribute to the UPSA Vice Chancellor's Endowment Fund and the Citi FM Foundation, I would like to take this opportunity to encourage all students out there to never give up on their dreams, but to keep working hard and climbing the proverbial good tree. And one day, you will get the push like I did. Fellow graduates, the reality of life after university has fast caught up with us. We have overcome many obstacles and challenges. Remember those sleepless nights, especially during the virtual examinations, which were brought about as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Let us all be proud of ourselves, because this day is the product of our hard work and dedication. This teaches us that we can overcome all our challenges, provided we believe we can and are ready to work hard towards it. As we step out into the world, I urge us all to be good ambassadors of this great institution. Let us all continue to live by the virtues of integrity, discipline, consistency, objectivity, and perseverance, which our UPSA experience has taught us. Let us exhibit good professional behavior everywhere we find ourselves. And
Right. Wow, so that is Ali Inusah giving his valedictory speech. You know, it's such a huge deal. Beyond just graduating with first class, he was the one to give the farewell speech. Yeah,
no, it's a fantastic story, and it's a feel-good story all through, you know, especially we're going to show you later on in just a little bit the actual story of where he began. And when you see that, you really appreciate what it means for him to stand where he stands, you know, to say those powerful words that he spoke, and it's just completely amazing. You know, but it's very important to state that I'm sure that as people are watching Ali's story, people are just putting their results together, people are just calling others, you know, that Citi FM and Citi TV, you know, are sponsoring people to school, so just bring a report to them. We were able to do this, you know, by the support of other benevolent donors who make sure that they do not have the platform, so they will support with their substance. Now, we'll show you the life, who Ali really was before we met him, and the journey and everything you need to know about him. When we come back, we'll have a proper conversation, and you will understand why we are so proud.
A lot of things change in 4 years. A lot of things, except facts and the history behind those facts. 4 years ago, in 2017, I was driving on this very road with my family. Got to this particular intersection, a gentleman flagged me from that side, and that is the beginning of the story of Ali Inusah. 18-year-old Ali is now 22. He bags a degree, even though he was holding only a WASI certificate at the time, which WASI certificate was presented to me on a mobile phone camera shot. Presented to me just here, this same junction. And the gentleman who did that, Umaru, is my namesake, emerged from this bush, as you see him emerging now. What were you doing here at that time that I was driving past?
Yes, that very day. I can't remember exactly what pushed me to move out of the house, but I just felt like coming to the roadside. So as I got here, I realized that the car was coming. So
my window was down.
Yeah, it was down.
That's why you saw me.
So I could see you through the window. So I recognized you immediately because I used to see your pictures on Facebook.
Why did you have your brother's results on your phone? Because you just showed it to me right here.
Yes, of course. You know, the result came. He went to check it. He said he couldn't believe what he saw. So when he showed it to us, I was screaming all over. And I had to call my brother. That time they were at the fitting shop over there. I had to call them and tell them that this was the result of Ali. I'm happy. And I was shouting all over. So I just have to picture it and put it on my phone. And every time I'm walking around, I just open it and I watch. I watch till I see.
It motivates you?
Yeah, then I'm happy. That's all. So,
at the time you were living here in that place, you don't live here anymore?
Yeah, now we don't live here anymore.
But can we go and look at where you were living at the time?
Sure. We can go there.
So let's go on a walk. So we're going to see the house that Umaru and his brother Ali were living in at the time that I came here in 2017. Sorry, we have to skirt through the bush. You have to catch up with us. Where are we going to use? Okay, we can. You are the master here. Anyone you want me to do? As an old cowboy, this is pretty familiar to me. Okay, thank you. All right. Okay. All right. So you have to just maneuver your way through. As is characteristic of a typical cattle farm. On the left, you can hear the cow bellowing to its calves. The calves have been restrained in a mini kraal. There's a bigger kraal which would contain the parents or the adult cattle. So this is the house you were living in?
Yes, please.
Okay, let's go closer. This is your house where you were living at the time, the day you stopped me.
Yes, please.
What is this?
So this used to be our kitchen.
You used to cook here?
Yes, we used to cook here. And myself and even Ali.
You used to enter here to cook?
Yes, please.
How long have you guys lived here for?
I think we came here the year 2000.
2000?
In the year 2000, we came here.
And I met you in 2017, so that's 17 years?
Yes, that's 17 years before we met you.
Ali would have not been born when you came here, or he was just about...
I think he was a baby. He was suckling then.
He was 18 at the time, so it means he was... Wow.
I think December 1999. He was born December 1999 also. So, get into the 2000s, then we moved in.
How many were you living here in this house at the time?
At the time, so 5, and then my mom and dad, so we are 7.
7?
Yes.
But it looks like just one room to me.
Yeah, so that time, I think it was only this room, and then a veranda. So we were all in one room, both mom and dad and all the children.
So you lived here all your life, almost?
Almost.
You attended secondary school, GSS while you were here? You didn't go to secondary school?
We went to GHS while I and my brother, that's Abu.
Where? Where did you go to GHS?
At Katamanso KKD today.
The government?
It was Katamanso...
basic school?
Yes.
The government school at the time?
Government school at the time.
Then after GHS, you didn't go for it?
After GHS, my brother decided to do some job to raise some money to go to secondary school. But he was like, okay, right now, if I'm able to enter the school, now my keep up, going and coming, he cannot afford, parents cannot afford, so he just have to use that money rather to go and learn work, be an apprentice at Nungwa fitter. So he went to learn mechanic.
That's your elder brother?
That's my elder brother, the one that I follow.
That's Abu?
That's Abu.
But before him, you have other brothers?
There is our senior brother, that's Hamidu. Yes. So
what does Hamidu do?
The two of them went into fitting at the same time.
Okay.
So the responsibility of helping dad came to me, and then my younger one, the Sumana, before Ali.
Hamidu didn't go beyond GSS. Abu Bakr didn't go GSS. Umar, you didn't go beyond GSS. No. Then Osman, what did he do?
Osman, yeah, he didn't go beyond GHS. Yeah, even though he completed, he was also, he had 21. I can remember he had 21.
I get 21.
21. I had 20, and then Abu had 14. Actually, he was the one who topped the class at the time. Okay. I was with him in the same class till we completed school.
What did Ali get in GSS?
Ali had 11.
I got 11? Yes, he had 11. Wow, I had 12, so he passed me by 1.
Wow.
Yeah, I had 12 in my village. But my village is farther from Accra than yours, so I have done well.
Well, what the same.
So when he finished and got BECA at grade 12, what was the thinking in the house like?
Yeah, when he had 12, now he needs to go to secondary school. And we mobilized a bit, and we were able to send him to the school. So we need the scholarship then, but it wasn't coming. It wasn't coming. I think 1 year or so after, 1 year after before it came also. So I think when he was in SS2, getting to the end of the term, I mean getting to the end of the this thing, how do you call it?
The year.
Before the scholarship fund was prepared.
From where?
From Ponkatamanso
District Assembly.
Okay. Yes.
So they gave some scholarship to continue.
Yes, to continue, because even at the time when the scholarship came, it was just at the point, because that time everything was exhausted.
He would not have continued.
He would not have continued.
You work on a cattle farm, your parents and yourselves. You have plenty of cattle. The viewer watching me would say, why didn't his father sell a cow or two to send Ali to school and the rest of the siblings? What's your answer to that?
I think that one is not possible like that, because you know this cattle work, there are thieves coming all over stealing them. You understand? And when you tell the owner that a cattle has got missing or it has been stolen, they don't believe you. They will think it is you who did it. So why should you go furthermore to say that you are going to sell a cow which doesn't belong to you? Yes, so you can't do it.
So the fundamental story is that the cattle didn't belong to your father?
They don't belong to my father. They don't belong to my father. He was just a herdsman who was taking charge of them for the owners. So
was there a salary for your father?
There wasn't any salary.
So 3 years ago, around 2018, your father decided enough was enough, and
enough was enough.
Has he moved to another cattle place to go and take out someone else's cattle, like typically happens?
No. I think my dad, he had a problem on his, I think it's his right knee also. Okay. So one day he went to the bush, and the knee just locked him. So he just found some place and then sat down until like an hour or two before he was able to manage to wake up again. So that day when he came, we called her and told us that something happened to him today in the bush, and he don't think he can continue with the animals anymore. So we will now take charge. So since then, I think me and my younger brother Sumana, so this one will go today, then tomorrow this one will go. And so if I go today and Sumana will go tomorrow, so tomorrow I will go to my welding shop and then come home, then continue tomorrow in the bush, and Sumana will go to his organizer shop. So that's how we did it every day. That's how we changed it.
So you gave up?
For almost like getting to 14 or so years before we decided that now enough is enough, so we will not follow them anymore. So you have to change and then do something else.
And so you moved from this house?
So we moved.
Is it your own house where you moved to? Or you are renting?
Yes, please. We didn't rent. We didn't rent.
So your father managed to put up something?
Yes, I might say so, but it's like someone actually, a good Samaritan,
did it for him?
Indigene of number 2.
Kubekru number 2.
Yes, he was given like his partly share by his elders as the land, and he managed to give us quarter plot over there.
You've heard Umaru explain there that they're no more in this house, they've moved. We're going to follow to their new house and speak to Ali, his parents. Well, this is Kubekru number 2, also on the stretch between Katamanso and Apollonia. We've just come to the residence of Ali's father, and well, it's in a crowd here, friends, neighbors, schoolmates, family members, local authorities, and everybody's converged here as we celebrate the story and life of Ali Inusah. Our young man here to my left. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How are you feeling about all of this? You're on television, you're on social media, everywhere.
It feels very great. It feels very great.
Yeah. Are people calling you? Are people messaging you? Are people sending you stuff online?
Seriously, I mean, from last week coming to today, the kind of messages I get, I can't just count. I had to always get some time to just sit down and reply all messages.
But in all of this, what is your thinking?
Well, I think that this is something that it's a story that is like a miracle. And looking at where I came from to where I am now, I think that this is something that should inspire other people who are also in difficult situations, and they should also have hope that one day they could come out and also get somewhere.
What's your dream? What's your aspiration?
Well, as someone who has a background in accounting, I've gone to school and I've met a lot of students. Most accounting students have the dream of working with one of the big 4 companies. And so I think that was one of my dreams.
Did you ever want to be an accountant? When you were growing up, did you know what accounting was? Did you want to be an accountant, or you landed as an accountant by accident?
I won't say by accident, but it started somewhere, but not from the time I was very young. Because sometimes when you're growing up and you have people in your family who have gotten somewhere, they can guide you. But I didn't get it that way. I had to, dilly-dally and then just struggle to be on the path.
Did you choose it, or someone chose it for you?
So I chose it. I chose it, yeah.
Are you happy with it?
Yeah, I'm very happy with it.
You're happy with it. Yeah. But your grades, extraordinary, very sterling results. Do you sleep? Do you play? Do you watch movies?
It's something that is God-given, because I do a lot of things. When you see me at home, you don't even think that I attend university. Most people around here, I don't think they know that I even attend university. When I come home, my friends and I go there to play football. You see the jersey I'm wearing now. It's one of the teams that we play. We have this area league that we play here every weekend. And
you play well?
Yeah, I'm a DM. I think just last week we won the league with 1 match to spare. Wow. And so I play football a lot. I like football. I watch football. Sometimes when you look at me, even at the hostel, people think that I don't learn because I waste a lot of time following football, yes.
And the unfortunate thing is that you support Chelsea.
Yes,
I find that very unfortunate.
But at least you are now on the top of the league.
Whatever.
The team you support, Manchester United.
It's okay. Don't rub it in. Don't rub it in. It's fine. Let's leave it there. Don't rub it in. How do your parents feel about all of this? Do they even understand what you have become? Do they understand that you wore a gown and all of that and was made to read a speech? Do your parents understand?
Yes, I think my mother knows that I went to read a speech. But my father, sometimes it's very difficult to get him to understand those things because they didn't have any experience about such things. And so when you are explaining things to them, you have to find a way of explaining to them to understand.
You have to explain first class. It's difficult.
She's able to understand things a bit better. Yeah.
I see. Let me speak to the father. Please ask him for me what he makes of what Ali has become.
Allah ɓeydana ɗum worde ayo mawɓe makko ɓeydu ɓeydu Allah walla ɗum Allah moƴƴinana ɗe jondeji meɗen en du e nokkure Gana ɗo joƴƴina jonde lobbere ɗum en du ñaagoto ɗe Allah walla ɗen kam woni ballo eyo ɗum woni ko haala.
Well, I think it's very good news to the family, and we thank God for this singular opportunity, and we pray that going forward, more opportunities of such before the family and the rest of us in the country. Ask
him what happened to his children's school. We are told a lot of his children didn't go to school. Ali is the only one. How did that one succeed?
Ayo, no Ali heɓi laawol ko yehiri sukuru ndu ani hu ko fodanano ko Allah fodi nawan. Ayo, fuka ɓe naatino amma huno Allah fodori hunde fof jungo Allah woni nawana wi adama ko Allah newani ɗum laato fu ɗum laatto nawana ni foti ayo Allah ɗum kanko du Allah ni hokkimo e majju wona ke waɗanede sirrigo waɗanede goɗɗum fof e jungo Allah ɗum woni minen du ko ɗum nati ɗum laatori ni min ɗum weliri min weli min sanne ɗum ngam mi andi hunde fof haro Allah ƴurta nawana ayo enen du fu ɗum ñaagoto e ballaga Allah walla en ɗum tan aɗum niya e ɓangdu ayo Allah ɗum nani wooɗi ni Allah moƴƴinanɗe Allah moƴƴinan alsilamu fof hokka en jonde lobbere hokka en ndenagu hokka en suurare du suuro e nder leydi du Allah faabo en kam woni paabotoɗo.
Well, all his siblings, just like Ali himself, had some basic education. Just that Ali was very fortunate to get support from outside, and that is why he was able to make it to the university level. So I think it's God's grace. Otherwise, the brothers has also had some basic education. It's just that they too didn't get support. Otherwise, their story would have been different.
Ask him for me what his advice would be to other people who haven't sent their children to school, and whether opportunities are available for those people to what would he also advise them?
So yi suka man kinne gatte suka mo sukuru nawana wartama sukuru joni kam Allah fodi fa hanne kandu yaha yeso fu nonni wori nawana fu jungo Allah dum woni fu Allah mo inana en fu jom e matti suka e mudum haya so dido hebi so goto hebi fa hanne fu e golle Allah no nawana ni wori ayo dum ni nyaago to jew suka himbe kan ngoni gon do fu min waami holla ayo ni wori hala.
So I will entreat each and everyone to send his or her ward to school. You shouldn't look at your economic hardship condition, because I was in the same soup and today Ali is here. It's a success story. So I would advise that everybody should take his ward to school. We didn't get that opportunity, and so if today anybody has that opportunity, I think it's a go for everybody. That's the father of Ali Inusah. The little he has to say about this. Let's hear from the mother. In barkaji mede.
Allah barakitare ja.
Ko matu da ke Ali hewto te hewto do fa lenge wobbe wiata dum ne woni ko milda.
Allah jettoje Allah ni. On kay dum weli dum wodi. On tinnake sanne min jettire fa hande. Allah windu baraji Allah beedu bawde. I can't say much, but to say we thank you so much. First of all, we thank God and we thank Citi FM and the people within the Citi FM who were able to make this story a success story. So go on, kami tina kami mati esku. Be jangi, amma bawa den yotaki tonne. Nung wadi be fu e be jasku. Jonka ko daru mi don ni wattu mi wobbe golle. Be kiti golle. Ko to Ali do jonka e bawde Allah min kawro e makko kanko jonka kanko ni Allah walli kanko walli jonka fa dum yotti to dum yotti joni do e mi den jetta fa hande min jetti. All right, with Ali's situation, I think both he, Ali, and his siblings have all had some basic education. We've tried so much. But we're living within a very tight budget means, and so we couldn't afford to graduate all of them to secondary school and then to university. And so at a point in time, we decided that the elder siblings should go learn some trade so that the meager amount that we get from trade, we use that to support Ali. But fortunately, some way, somehow, you came into the light and you were able to help through the Citi FM program. And today, Ali is a graduate. So we thank God and we thank you too. Well, we are still celebrating the story of Ali Inusah. We are in his house and talking to neighbors and family members. Let me speak to this man. Hello, sir. What's your name?
My name is Alaji Drusu Anang Niajete.
You are the assemblyman or the former assemblyman?
I'm a former assemblyman.
For this area?
Yes.
What's the name of your electoral area?
Busa electoral area.
Do you see many Alis in your community as you move around? Are there many children like Ali?
The type of Ali?
Yes. Children who are brilliant but don't have the support to go to school?
Many.
You see them?
Because when I'm assemblyman, education is my key. Because there's a law that every child should go to school.
F-cube?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So that's a former assemblyman for this electoral area who supported Ali when he was looking for a scholarship to go to the proceed to the secondary school, that is. He graduated with a aggregate 11 at the GHS level and could not proceed for financial reasons. Let's now hear from someone who was in the same school with Ali. Seeing the story that we are telling today, what is your thinking like?
If I would want to talk about tears of joy in my life, I think that was the first time I experienced that. I was looking at it and I was just shedding tears. I was asking, so why am I crying? And the picture that came first into my mind was the brothers looking at, because I think one of the brothers had the best results during our year. And then when I picture that and they couldn't further it, at least success brought joy to my heart. So I was very happy.
Indeed, so that's a story here. Grateful to God. Indeed, it is the story that is being told here repeatedly. Let's hear now from the neighbors of Ali, remembering his story, the support that he may not have gotten, but still he got here.
And there was one critical issue during his school in Wesley Grammar. I think 2 days before examination, and you know, the scholarship was from the District Assembly's Common Fund. Normally the check comes late. And 2 days before examination, and the pressure on him was too much.
You haven't paid your fees?
He hasn't paid the fees. The check is not in. So we have to rush to the assembly. I think I called the assemblyman. I met the chief executive myself. We did everything possible. You know, the process in granting those checks goes through a lot in the assembly. So we got the check around 5 p.m. in the evening at the district assembly. And before the check was granted, I even called the then member of parliament, Nila Afutiagbo. He has to speak to the chief executive to release yes, to expedite it, because he wasn't having money in the MP's common fund. So he said, no, they can pay through the district assembly's common fund. So that's what. So by 7 o'clock, I'm in Wesley Grammar. I have to beat the gates and give him the check, because he has to also pay the check in the bank. There's a bank.
Banker's draft. They give banker's draft. Yeah.
There's a bank at the school. They share wall with the Methodist University in Wesley Grammar. So that was the critical moment. I think it was a tough time.
So this is how we wrap up the story of Ali Inusah from his family home in Kubekro number 2 on the Apollonia Stretch. My name is Umaru Sanda.
Yeah, so that is the story of Ali Inusah. Now you understand why we are going on and on and on. Yeah. There was no hope whatsoever for this young man. I mean, you've seen his family. Yeah. He is the first, to go this far with his education. Now, the gentleman who discovered him, I can boldly say that he is an instrument of change. You know, he allowed himself. And we've been joined in the studio by Umaru Sanda Amadu. And I'm sure that walking through the bushes, it was just a feeling of nostalgia. You are used to this.
It was. Let me say Jamwali to you. Jamwali means good morning. Is it?
Jamwali. Well. Right now, so Sanda brought in Ali Inusah. Now, when he came here, it wasn't by magic that he got to be on COPE, because somebody also had to make that final decision and say that, yes, this gentleman has done fantastically well, and so we will support him. And we have our boss right here in the studio, Mr. Samuel Atta-Mensah. Samens, welcome to Breakfast Daily.
Thank you.
Right. Sanda, I will start with you. I want to believe that that wasn't the first time, that somebody had approached you for help. I mean, with the kind of work we do, you are always getting DMs and all that. And it could have been annoying, Somebody just accosts you in the middle of your journey, brings out his brother's result. What caused you, to pay attention to this? What moved you to support this young man?
Okay, so there are results and there are results. Now, anybody could come to you and say they want help, but you don't have the motivation based on what they have shown to you. But what was plucked out of that bush and shown to me, I mean, unless you have a heart of steel, it's not something that you would shine away from. I mean, when I saw the results on the phone, I was like, wow, how can you have this in the bush here, And for me, Ali's story is very close and similar to mine. So I could understand and relate easily that when you go to schools like this, there aren't role models. So first of all, you are just going to the school because you are going to school. You don't know why you are going to school. There's no one ahead of you who is giving you guidance or direction. So he just goes to school, closes, comes home, take the cattle out into the bush. That's what he does. Same thing I was doing. And for him to clock that much, aggregate 11, I mean, that is incredible. So imagine if he was in a school in Accra with all the necessary basic things that he needs available to him. You can imagine what he would get. And so when I saw the result, I'm like, okay, if this guy can get this in the bush while heading cattle, if you give him a little opportunity or a little push, he's going to go to the top. And that's why I decided that this is something that we need to help him with. It was a weekend. I was just traveling with my dad to visit his brother. And so I took the results, and let me also add that he enticed me with a bottle of cow milk. And
when you edited that part earlier.
So Sandra, you were driving past.
Was driving past on that road.
And he flagged you.
Yes, yes. He was standing by the bush. And I asked him yesterday in the interview, I'm like, why were you standing there at that particular time? At that time. And he said he doesn't know. He was in the house, something they said to him, just go to the road.
Serendipity.
And when he saw me, my windows were down. I mean, I decided to lower the windows just to inhale the fresh grass. You know.
You miss home.
Yeah, the scent of the fresh grass. And then the guy said, hello, hello, hello. So I stopped, and then he said, oh, my name is so-and-so. We have been watching you on TV. We're very happy to be seeing you. I'm like, okay, thank you. So I was about to move on. Usually that's what people would do. And he said, but please, I want to show you something. I was curious. Then he pulls out his phone. And it was a half yam, half smartphone.
Okay.
Yeah, at the time, it was 2017.
Yeah.
So the picture was not even that clear, but I could see the results. And immediately I knew that this was something that,
special.
I mean, 6 A's and one B.
Yeah.
I was like, no. So immediately I came to the office the following day. I went to Bernard, and of course I climbed to the top to see something, and I said, there's a boy I found in the bush. That boy is... it's a jewel that we have to bring out, and whatever we have to do, we need to. By that time, too, COPE had closed, you know, admissions. Not only COPE, all the universities had closed admissions. So, I mean, it was nearly impossible. Bernard Avile had to drive around Accra like a madman, you know, working, trying to beat deadlines. And this was because when I sat on the City Breakfast Show, we had this conversation. The VC of the UPSA was listening to the conversation, Professor Abednego. And then he contacted Bernard and said, I've heard you talking about this boy. I would like to offer him a scholarship, you know. So by that time, admissions had closed to UPSA, had closed to every university. But he said, well, he had to find a way around it. So Bernard then had to quickly, after the breakfast show, put the boy in his car and drive to UPSA. They want to go through all the process of buying form. Well, he hadn't bought a single form to any university. See, the thing is that when you're in that kind of setting, there's something called awaiting forms. They don't know about it. Then the proper forms too, you don't know anything about it. You just finish school and you are home. And the next thing is they'll marry for you and you are fine. That's what typically happens in these settings. So your father is taking care of someone's cattle. He has done it since the year 2000, 17 years on the same farm. There's no reward for the work he's doing. The only thing he gets is milk. He produces, luckily for him, he produces only sons. And so the natural order is for all the sons to help him on the field. And so the first boy, Hamidu, goes into the cattle ranch. Second boy, Abubakar, does same. Third one, Umaru, does same. Then the fourth one, Usman, does same. And now the final one, Ali, does same.
So school wasn't part of...
No. You will go to school because there's a school in the neighborhood. Everybody's going. So you go some.
And Sada, you said luckily for the father. Why did you say luckily for the father? He had only son.
Because it's usually a boy's job to tend that cattle. So when you have boys, it makes your job easier for you. I mean, my father had girls, and he pushed them too as well in the bush. So my big sisters were all herding cattle like some cowboys, you know. And so I'm saying that his father, in this particular instance, had boys, so he didn't even have to struggle, because girls would be married off. Usually they'll marry them in their teens and take them away. But this guy, he had boys, and their job, profession was just head cattle until they give up and say, look, I won't do it again.
Right, so we'll come back, you know, to continue the story. But Papa, let's come to you. COPE, you know, as a project, what informed this initiative in the first place?
You mean the initiative of COPE?
Yes.
Well, I mean, COPE was, I would say that it was actually by accident. We started with something for children when we used to go to the hospitals on Christmas to spend Christmas with kids. We've been to Kolibu, we've been to the Children's Hospital, we've been to Koforidia, St. Joseph's. We've traveled everywhere just spending time with the children. But something happened. We lost a friend who had, you know, kids growing up, and it was just sudden. Very good friend of mine who used to support us when we started the radio, and so the challenge was on me. You know, so what do we do? At the time, this friend's. Our common friend Bejra was the MP Bejra, who's also a very good friend of mine. We were together, so we decided that look, let's raise money through radio to support the kids. And that's how it started.
Okay.
So these kids were the first we enrolled on COPE. The first one is now a geological engineering student at KNUST now, but they started from primary. But when we put structure to it, we decided to limit it to
the tertiary level.
Tertiary, of course, with free secondary education now in the system. So that's how it started, and it's grown over the last, if you like, 11, 12 years into what it is now. Currently, we have about 50 students on COPE in various tertiary institutions.
Okay. When Sanda came to you, how easy...
I mean, don't even finish the question. I actually dismissed it the first time.
Okay, all right.
You know, I actually dismissed it the first time. But you know, what kicked me was his... that if we don't get him the support, he will just have to go back to his jackaroo, jackaroo work, you know. And it just set me thinking, you know. So this boy, so he actually showed me his results. And, you know, and he was just standing, he wasn't leaving, he was just standing in front of me. And I was hoping that I'll just bow my head by the time I realized he's gone. But the man wasn't saying anything, and I think the whole effort was to make me feel bad. And he actually succeeded, because for somebody, myself, who has had to stay home for 1 year because a father will not pay my school fees, left me after primary school for 1 year, not knowing what to do with my life. So I know that situation, I could relate. And so I just said, look, whatever it is, go and see Bernard and let's work on it. And I think that's how it started.
So Sanda, when you broke the news to his family, you know, that now Citi FM is going to support him, how was it feeling like?
The mother was in tears on the phone. I mean, I hadn't met his parents. I hadn't met even the boy himself. I hadn't met him. I only met
so you had just met
so I
was dealing only with what WAEC had issued out, knowing that if anything, I mean, that can be authenticated. So the boy himself was only when we were ready to work on the admissions that I called the brother and said, okay, you can come with your brother to the office in the morning, and then we can take it from there. So Bernard finished his show. So after everything was sorted, then I received a call, and this woman was so thankful and was in tears and everything. I'm like, oh, it's okay, it's fine, it's fine, it's okay. No. She couldn't have believed that this was going to happen because, look, when all the sons grew up, finished GSS, you listen to her in the interview, she said she had to find jobs for them to do. So they all one became mechanic, one became a welder, all these jobs. I'm not saying that mechanic and welding is not a good thing, but if you have a certificate that supports your job as a mechanic, you become a mechanical engineer. They will not call you a fitter. You know, so that kind of thing. But unfortunately, she couldn't push them beyond that. I mean, we didn't have a sponsorship scheme for the district to take you to university. So they applied to the district, but districts can only sponsor you to secondary school at the time. Maybe now that there's free SHS, they may want to start focusing on that. So she was beside herself with joy. And so they organized and went to my parents' place to go and thank my parents. I'm like, what, Charlie? All of this.
Oh, really? Did they bring milk?
Oh, I mean, milk, dear, Charlie,
it's standard.
It's like pito, you know, it's like cola nut. Or when you come to my house, creamy milk, you know what I mean? So after that, so they did that, and then they will come to the house. Whenever we have ceremonies, now they become like family. They will come to our ceremonies, and then they too, we have to go to their ceremonies and all of that. I mean, but over the 4 years, this boy was just committed and dedicated to his work. And you know, when you support someone and the person excels, you have some joy. You're excited. You know that you haven't wasted your resources. Because imagine if the person came with A's in chain, and then you send them to university. You spend all this money. I mean, then he comes out with, you know, third class lower. What are you going to do with that? I mean, you'll be like, Charlie, Maboka. You don't want to do that.
But you know, Sanda, I mean, think about...
I like a third class lower.
I know, right?
Third class lower. Yeah, that's as good as pass.
Yeah, Charlie, you know passes, you know pass.
No, so you would have been happy with the first class, but this guy was the top.
Of course.
Of the top.
You know, Samuel is sitting here. There's something he has told me. I'm not sure I get the phrasing right, but he said to me that he's not a first-class person. He takes a B. You said you take B and A and convert into something. Like, so, I mean, I was not a first-class student.
Yeah.
He accepted me. So I'm not going to say that you have to be first-class and all of that.
Yeah.
I mean, if he progresses on the ladder academically and turns the fortunes of his family around, for me, that's enough. I have a second class. I mean, that's what was usually, yeah, second class.
Upper
Yeah,
or lower?
I think. Why are you going to the detail? Early morning.
Son, I don't lower the age than you're lower. Let me bail you out.
Oh, yeah. I dissociate myself. Please, I got.
I stand alone.
Before, by the time we leave here, it's on Twitter.
I stand alone.
Please tweet that Samuel had low. I mean, I got second class, man.
Triumphantly. Because you don't know what I would have had.
It could have been worse. It would have been
worse, man.
You know? So, I mean, if with second class, I can take care of my parents. I'm taking care of my nephews and nieces.
Your wife and children.
My wife and children, my siblings. And I am, what do they call it, breadwinner. I support my people. And there are even people who are not my family and relatives whom I'm supporting in tertiary, in secondary school and in basic school with my small salary that I'm getting. And
are you saying this because the boss is here?
He's paying too much.
No, he didn't say small salary.
Small.
He says small, meaning he gets it from different
sources.
Oh, no!
You've been exposed.
Okay, you know, here, let's hide behind that.
Okay, that's fine.
Before GRA comes asking that, so how?
The gifts, no?
So I'm saying that if I could do that with this small thing, and this guy gets first class, and that big word that they've added to him, valedictorian of his class, then you can imagine what is possible. I mean, so I mean, for me, it's light in the community. In my village school, our motto was brighten the corner.
Where you are.
Wow. That's what they ended it at corner. We didn't know the full thing. I only recently got to know the thing. They wrote brighten the corner. The first one was, the school crest was aim high. We used to buy it for 100 cedis. They wrote aim high. Then we had a new teacher, Theophilus Akroboto, like one of the most enlightened teachers who come to the area. He changed the thing to brighten the corner. We loved it. But now I know what brighten the corner means. And I think Ali would brighten his corner. He's already started by putting the village on a map, first of all. And he's going to proceed. So henceforth, his siblings, if they need assistance, he can help them. I mean, he's working, and this is not something we've released yet, but he's got his national service with one of the big four in the accounting world.
Which one?
Uncable. Yeah, secretly. I mean, the big four, one of them.
Wow.
As soon as we finished with the breakfast show interview, they started contacting. Hey, we've heard this, your boy is doing this. So, I mean, it's a competition to get him. And one of them has won.
Amazing story.
And I mean, something we can communicate properly when they do the paperwork and everything.
Right.
But it's exciting. And imagine he enters there. Charlie, that is it. And that is a fortune that has been sealed, and he changes the destiny of his whole family. And I'm saying that I'm an example. I have 6 elder brothers and sisters who haven't gone to school. I'm the last one. And I have gone to school. And today, I'm helping my family. So hopefully, Ali would help so.
Great. So Samens, how does it feel, spending this much of money? This is a boy you almost dismissed. Now he goes to school and his results keep coming and is always putting smiles on everybody's face. I mean, he is one of the examples. How does it feel being a sponsor to people like that?
I think it's just work in progress. And Ali is one of many that we've had to deal with and are still dealing with. I mean, I think what is if you like, exciting, is that he's a cowhead, which is not the regular occupation that you hear. Somebody who is a cowhead is normally situated in the outskirts, if not in the bush. And so it makes it a unique story. But if you delve into the details of the people who have benefited and are still benefiting from COPE, I think each of them has a unique story to tell. I mean, some of those stories you will cry. I'm telling you, you will cry. There was once a guy who couldn't make it into COPE after they applied. Came here with a mother. The mother they walked from wherever, you know, got here, and it turned out that the mother had just arrived from Lagos, Nigeria. Wow. And I got interested. So it says the boy called and said that there was a scholarship thing, and that if she didn't come in, they would know. And the woman arrived at dawn from Lagos, didn't even go home, walked here. So I got interested. So what do you do there? They say, I'm a maid servant.
In Nigeria.
I'm a maid servant in somebody's house in Nigeria, but I don't have any other means. Look, upon hearing that, I just said, please add the man to it.
Yeah.
And that was it. Yeah. The woman just fell on the street and started crying. Wow. So we have different stories.
It's making me emotional already,
I'm telling you.
My goodness.
And so my thing is, if you don't help, what happens to them? At times we blame society for a lot of the things we see on our streets. Yeah. But the difference lies in the small interventions that we do in such cases. Yeah. You know, so ours is that if you're in a position to help somebody, it may not necessarily be cope, but somebody move up the ladder to the next level, that person could possibly have been the next armed robber. Yeah. But for your intervention. Yeah. So that's why we do the things we do.
You know, talking about intervention, I think it's also right to state that COPE has also, you know, put up a 40-bed facility, girls' dormitory, you know, for Basco. And I think that just as you've mentioned, the person you refuse to help could be the next
armed robber.
Could be the next something else you may not even want to give a name to.
Next armed robber or next president. Depends on how you intervene.
Absolutely, you know, so this intervention also brought up Basco, the dormitory. In fact, we've been supporting Basco. I mean, you may want to tell us a bit more about
Basco. Is one of the orphanages that we've been supporting over the years. But the growing need, at some point, I think 2 years ago, they were stopped from accepting females. So the reason was that the state of their facilities was nothing to write them about. So we were compelled to come back and raise some funds to put up. So we managed to get people to donate, and in 4 months we put up what you see on the screen as a new girls' dormitory. Now it's still work in progress. Our aim is to change the whole scape of Basco and give it a befitting, if you like, campus. Let me use the word campus, you know, because this will be the third building we've put up there in Basco. We did the skills training center, which is also situated there, and then now, but prior to that, we had helped in renovating an existing classroom block. Where are we now with Basco in particular? We are now supposed to equip the place with bunk beds and other resources, and then it will be ready for use.
Fantastic.
Well, so this is what Citi, you know, is doing. I mean, supporting people who are desperate for our help, and we do so by your contributions as well. So it's very necessary that we just state for the records that we don't do this all by ourselves. Our viewers, our listeners support us, and so we are still calling. You just heard someone say that we need to equip the facility. We have put up the structure, but it takes more than just a building to call it a dormitory, and so we still need to do this together, you know, as stakeholders. You may not have the platform, you may not go to the bush, you know, to find somebody, but when we bring out those people, it behoves on all of us to make sure that we give them the necessary push. Now, we do so by physically, you know, donating, giving support, and it is called money. That is what we need. So this is where we are right now. We can do so much, okay, but we all have to come together because we also have our own challenges as a station, and the little that we can, we are really doing it, and we are committed to bringing smiles to the faces of people. We can change the narrative if we all come together to make sure that we give people the needed push. And so you can see on your screens where your donations can be given, so you can send them to the mobile money number 0550 900006. if you are issuing a check, you can write it in the name of the Citi FM Foundation. You can also visit www.citinewsroom.com or call 0550-900-006 or 0302-226-013 0302-226-013.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a message here for somebody watching on the stream on Facebook. Nana Burma Emirate. He says, God bless you for helping Ali's life. He was also the best student in our class, Business 3. God bless you, Ali Inusah as well. So one of his classmates there watching on the stream there. So yeah, this is a fantastic story all around.
Yeah.
The boy is bright. I mean, I was saying that if you look at his first semester results and you look at the second semester and the third semester and the fourth, you would think that he photocopied the first one and just put his name on it. It's just the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, just whatever I got, I'm just getting it for you. Just don't worry. Like, relax. You just don't. I'm fine. I'll take care of it. And he told me that he plays football.
Yeah.
Initially, I thought he didn't do anything. I thought he only spent his life behind books like a bookworm. Then he told me, no, he plays football.
He does everything. I mean, this is his talent.
I'm like, hey,
intelligence is his calling, you know.
It's a gift. I mean, these things, if God wants to do something, nobody can stop it.
Yeah.
So God decides, I'll pick this little one, the last one amongst them, and 10 things around with him.
Make him the Joseph of the family.
God decides to do that. And
right, Papa, so before we go...
I think it's just, again, I listened to the boy and I know that this guy was actually meant to be a science student because his analytical expressions are very rich.
Yeah.
And, you know, when even the brother was talking about something for those students on operations management, how in day one he does welding, day two he goes to the field, and then they queue and do turns. And students, management science students, you know how these things work. They actually putting management science into practice without even knowing. And even when you ask him a question, the analytical way that he answers, so good. We thank God. But hey, we are just at the point of raising money again for the next batch of COPE students. So they'll give you the numbers again. If you want to help people like Ali, there are several of them, as we said. There are several of them. We've always put a cap on it at 50 students because so far that's what our resources will permit us. But if you think you can help, you can partner in any way, free to call Kafui Kuonu, who is the coordinator here at Citi, and then
fantastic.
The applications are here. They are plenty. They are knocking. They have brought results and all of them.
Oh yeah. But let me also state that we do this for governments, tertiary institutions.
Public.
We don't have money to go to the private ones. So.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Umaru Sandamadu, thank you very much for allowing yourself.
I thought you would offer me some creamy milk, you know.
But you're drinking all the milk. No, okay. Creamy class.
I need to nourish it. But I want to drink it there from the can, except that on TV they will complain. So if the camera goes on,
don't bring
all right, thank you very much.
I'll sort you out later, all right? Right, thank you very much, Sanda. Thank you very much, Sumes.